Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we're doing another discography ranking for you, and we are going to be talking about Fen. If you have not heard this band before, they are from the UK and play atmospheric black metal with a very healthy dose of like post-metal, post-rock, whatever you want to call it. It's a very unique blend of styles. There's progressive moments, and it just shows their different influences throughout their songs and throughout their different albums. They do have 7 full lengths that I'm going to be running through from my least favorite down to my favorite. This will include their brand new album, Monuments to Absence, which just came out. This band very much writes their lyrics all based around nature. It's not going to be like satanic black metal. That's not the style here. This is more on the atmospheric black metal side. All, like I said, nature-based, and it's just great to really immerse yourself in. It's just majestic, and the atmospheres that they create here with these different soundscapes, it just brings out so many different feelings, and they really evoke this so well. If you haven't heard them before, I'd say if you're into bands like Agalloch or Druk, Winterfilleth, Falls of Rhoros, Woden's Throne, Panopticon, anything in that general scope of like nature-based atmospheric black metal, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of Fen. I think they suit it, like fit right alongside their peers there. One of the best in the business in this style of music. So without further ado, I'm just going to get into this. Very hard to rank these, like even what's coming in the last couple spots. I still really enjoy these albums. I enjoy all 7 of their albums, but something has to come last. That's the fun in doing these lists. But definitely go check out all these albums. Don't ignore these ones I'm mentioning last because they're not bad by any stretch. But here we go. Coming in last place in 7th, my least favorite Fen album, but still definitely worth listening to, going with their 3rd album, which is from 2013, titled Dustwalker. So this album, it does start very aggressively with the opening track, Consequence, which is easily my favorite song on the album. But it does kind of expand the sound from there. Like, yes, it starts very aggressively, but then it kind of goes into some different directions. I don't know as it quite keeps the quality of that opening song throughout the rest. It's not to say the rest of it is not good. It kind of follows the groundwork that they laid out with the first couple albums, which of course I haven't talked about yet. But they are continuing to evolve their sound here, tweak it a little bit, add in some different influences. There's a lot of like peaceful, subdued moments throughout this album along with the black metal. And there's just lots of like contrasting styles and emotions here. Different types of songs on display throughout this whole album. Like I said, my favorite track is the opener, Consequence, but another great song is The Black Sound. All in all, like this is still a very good album. I'm just putting it last because I personally prefer some of their other albums a little bit more. Up next in 6th place, I'm going to go with the album that was right before that, actually, their sophomore album from 2011, Epoch. So this one, compared to the debut, again, which I haven't talked about yet, this one had a little bit more of a gentler approach. Really very somber and moody in parts. Like, it still has its base in black metal. It still has those aggressive moments throughout. But it does balance it with all these more somber and moody atmospheres to really create something unique and different. I think I like the debut a little bit more than this album. Obviously, I haven't mentioned it yet, but this is still very good. It just brings a level of tranquility, and it's just that kind of album overall. If I had to pick favorite songs on here, Ghosts of the Flood is awesome. The Gibbet Elms. All in all, like I said, even though it's coming in 6th, don't ignore it. It's still very good. Definitely worth your time. All right, now we're into the top 5. In 5th place, I'm going to go with that debut album from 2009, The Malediction Fields. So this one was their introduction into the scene, let everyone know what they're all about. It has the mix of harsh vocals and clean vocals, which has continued throughout their whole career. It's got really heavy, fast black metal sections, but then these calm acoustic moments as well. And even on this album, on the first couple albums, they do have these like hazy keyboards in the background with these synths. It was actually one of the members from Woden's Throne. He was only there for a couple albums, then left, but his influence was greatly felt here with these hazy keyboards that just really added to the overall atmosphere. Like, all in all, this is an excellent debut Even better material would come later on in their career, in my opinion, but this album really set the foundation of their sound. It does have a major like post-rock influence, but it's still rooted in black metal, and it's just an amalgamation of those influences and sounds into something that just sounds like Fen. If I had to pick my favorite songs here, Exile's Journey, Lashed by Storm is awesome as well. All in all, very solid album in 5th place. All right, up next in 4th, I'm going to go with their second most recent album, or their 6th album overall, from 2019, The Dead Light. So this one is just very emotional, atmospheric black metal. It's got really luscious guitar tones and parts throughout. Compared to some of the other albums, I'd say this one has more of like a straightforward, direct approach with the songwriting. It's not to say it's easy or like basic. There's still like progressive riffs here, but it's just maybe not as elaborate as some of their other albums. It's got a really like proggy post-rock feel. Think like even modern day Enslaved, I would say, is a big influence on this album. It's got that similar kind of feel and vibe with some of the riffs. But yeah, this one, it's just still got that typical Fen sound, but it is a little bit of a different direction than the previous albums. But it's no less captivating for it. They keep you on your toes. They never really do the same album twice, although it all still sounds like them, and they still retain that uniqueness that is them. This was a little bit of a different direction, and I did like it. It's not my favorite album by them, but I still very much enjoy it. Favorite tracks on here, The Dead Light Part 1. That one for sure has a major Enslaved vibe to it. Breath of Void is another great song. All in all, very solid stuff in 4th place. All right, up next in 3rd, you'll notice I haven't talked about the brand new album yet. I have not listened to it a ton, but it's coming in this high on the list because that's how strong my first impressions are. Monuments to Absence, the new one that was just released. So honestly, out of their whole career, this is possibly their most like angry and aggressive album that they've ever sounded. This is just, in their span of their career, it is possibly their heaviest album, which is saying something, 7 albums deep. It still has those atmospheric, like, those atmospheric touches and moments throughout that are more tranquil. Those are still sprinkled in, but overall, this does have a more angry and aggressive vibe to it. It's a very solid, enjoyable album overall. I will say that, like, Fen albums take a lot of listens to really sink in for you to really get everything that's going on. So of course, with this being a brand new album, I haven't spent nearly the amount of time with this as I have with other albums. So we'll see if it will rise higher, drop lower, but I'm sure you're going to see this on my albums of the month list, and there's probably a good chance that this could make my albums of the year list. My first impressions of it are very strong. I am digging it a lot. On my first few listens, my favorite tracks are Scouring Ignorance and Racked, but I mean, really, this whole album is awesome. So yeah, in 3rd place today. We'll see in time if it grows even more, but for today, that's where it is. All right, I got 2 more albums to go. This is where it got really tough for me. These ones are clearly, to me, my top 2 albums. The rest could have kind of switched places, but these 2 are a notch above, in my opinion. Maybe the new one will climb up to these heights in time, but these 2 albums, such a tough time picking which one I prefer. That kind of changes daily, so definitely go check out both of these if you've never heard them before. So for today, in 2nd place, I'm going to go to 2014 with their 4th album, Carrion Skies. For a long time, this was my favorite Fen album, but the one that's going to be in number 1 has maybe overtaken it in the last few years. But yeah, on this album, I really found that the songwriting was maturing and improving compared to the first 3 albums. There's just a lot more catchier moments here with some of the riffs. Like, they still maintain the style from the previous albums, but they've dialed up the catchiness and the memorability with these riffs. And it's just peppered with great riffs throughout this. And at the time, this was probably their most aggressive album compared to their first 3 albums, and this one came out, it was probably their most aggressive. Maybe the new one is taking that mantle now, but wow, this is just absolutely great atmospheric black metal album. Our Names Written in Embers, parts 1 and 2, great songs to kick off the album. The Dying Stars, awesome as well. All in all, front to back, this is a pretty flawless album. Awesome stuff. Could have easily been in number 1, but for today, it's in 2nd place. And that just leaves one My favorite Fen album, at least today, is the follow-up to Carrion Skies, which is from 2017, titled Winter. So this one, wow. 6 songs, 75 minutes. So you know you're getting songs on the lengthier side, but it's just, while it is a lot to digest, it is so well done, and it will just keep you engaged throughout its running time. It's really got this epic cinematic feel to it. Like, it is so epic in scope, this album. Like, every song has these big climaxes that really pull on your heartstrings, and it's just a very strong album. Like I said, it was so hard for me to pick between Carrion Skies and Winter, but I went with this one for today, at least, just because I feel like it dials up the epicness, and maybe it's a little more emotional, and it's just perfect in that sense. Like, it's still got those aggressive moments, but then it shifts to these melancholic moments, and the way that they're sprinkled in, it just, like I said, it pulls on your heartstrings. Like, it's a very emotional album. It's a perfect example of their sound and style, so it might be a great album to start off with if you've never heard the band before. If I had to pick favorite songs, I'll go with Pathway, the 17-minute opener to the album. Amazing stuff. Interment is great as well. Really, every song on here. I mean, there's only 6 tracks, so picking favorites is kind of ridiculous when the album's this good. But nonetheless, that is my pick for my favorite Fen album. So, as usual, these are just my thoughts and opinions. I would love to get yours down below. If you dig the band, let me know what your favorite albums are. Let me know what you thought of the new album that just came out. Always like to get some conversations going. And until next time, Hammerheart Metal Reviews, out.